Dear students, we were discussing about work measurement techniques, and uh, through work measurement techniques, with the help of time study and other techniques, we were finding out how to calculate the standard time. Now, as part of the standard time, normally if you are doing time study, what you get is an observed time, and from the observed time, you will multiply that by a rating factor, and you will get the basic time. To the basic time, you have to add allowances, and then you will finally arrive at standard time. So now let us see about the various allowances that are given for a worker when he is performing his work. Okay, now what are allowances and why they are given? Let us see. You see, an allowance is a time allowed for the worker for his personal delays and to overcome fatigue and for unavoidable delays. See, any of the reasons it can be because of which a little time is given to him extra over and above what time is required for him to machine or manufacture or assemble the component. Okay, allowances are added to the normal time to obtain standard time. Sometimes we are calling this normal time as basic time. So the allowances, that means what? Normal time plus allowances is equal to standard time. Okay, like that. So it is see, for a worker it is not possible to maintain a steady average pace if he is working for every minute of the day. You see, according to industrial laws, they have fixed the shift duration as 8 hours for a worker to work. So in an 8-hour shift, you see how many minutes will be there? 1 hour has 60. 8 into 6, 8 into 6, 8 5 is 40, 8 6 48, 480 minutes are there in 8-hour shift. So for 480 minutes, every minute if he is working, see, it is not, he cannot continue with the speed that he has started in the morning, okay, in the beginning of the shift. So he has to take time out for overcoming the fatigue and for his personal needs and for his reasons which are beyond his control. That is the things which we call as unavoidable delays. Okay, now let us see various types of allowances which are permitted to him. See, now here there is a list of 4 different allowances that are given. The first is the relaxation allowance. Okay, we will see about each of them after we read the list. The second one is contingency allowance, and third is policy allowance, and fourth is special allowance. Now of these 4, the relaxation allowances, which are indeed useful for the operator for him to recover the fatigue, only these are essential allowances which are added to the basic time or the normal time. Other allowances are applied only under certain conditions. Okay, now let us first study about the relaxation time. The relaxation time is an addition of time which is added to the basic time, and this is for what purpose we are giving the relaxation allowance. See, allowances means it's only in time allowances. We will not be paying any money for this. Okay, time allowance it is. Okay, so it is an addition to the basic time which is intended to provide the worker with an opportunity to recover from the physiological and psychological effects of carrying out a specific work under specific conditions, and to allow attention to personal needs. You see, it is both for psychological needs as well as physical needs. Okay. See, the relaxation allowance has two major components. One is personal allowance, and the second is fatigue allowance. Under the personal allowance, these allowances are provided to the worker for his personal needs, like drinking water, visiting toilets, trip to dressing rooms, smoking, tea breaks, etc. See, these are certain allowances which are necessary. As a human being, it is necessary for us. It won't be required for a robo or for all these things, but we are human beings, so for us it will be necessary. Okay, and these are all self-explanatory. We need not discuss much about these things. Then, when working conditions are favorable, a 5% allowance is added for men and 7% if the workers are women. Okay, 5% allowance means what? Um, if okay, whatever is the time that is required for him for for doing that work, the basic time that we arrive at, that should be multiplied by this 5% to get the allowance, and that should be added to the basic time to get the standard time. That's how it is. Okay, these conditions are when favorable. That means everything is fine, no problem. But there may be some unfavorable conditions. See, at that time, no, see, over and above this 5%, you have to provide. Okay. See, the unfavorable conditions can be any unfavorable condition. Okay, even like like working conditions where the temperature is very hot. It is very hot for him. The temperature is more. You see, that is one of the examples when it is unfavorable, when it is very suffocating and no movement of air is there, or when there is not sufficient light there, and he has to pay more attention. And such cases, then you will have to provide more allowance. Okay, but when we are calculating, see, we will consider only the favorable conditions, because it will be normally a manager's endeavor to provide favorable working conditions. You give all the things that are necessary for the worker, all favorable conditions, and then you ask him to work. Okay, so this 5% allowance for favorable condition, for if it is a man we will allow, and if it is a woman, 7% allowance. Okay. um, second relaxation allowance is fatigue allowance. Fatigue means what? See, when you are working, you will get tired. See, for that tiredness, to recover from the tiredness, you have to give allowance. So fatigue is defined as a physical or mental weariness existing in a person that affects his ability to perform the work. The fatigue is a result of unhealthy working conditions, physical exertion, inconvenient postures, concentration, etc. See, the fatigue can be any of those things. You see, a person who is working in an AC environment, air-conditioned environment, he won't be so tired compared to a person who is working at very hot and humid air conditions environment. Okay, and the amount of physical exertion that is involved, you see, You see, some works will be not involving much physical exertion. Some will be, some men will be required to carry heavy loads, see, a lot of exertion. Okay, in such conditions, you see, they will be more tired. You will accordingly, you'll have to give more fatigue allowance. Inconvenient postures, even the postures matter. That is why the ergonomically designed work tables, working chairs, no, these are necessary even for the tools, the placement of tools, with how far one has to stretch to take the tools and all those things. Those things matter. Okay, so inconvenient postures, if they are there, they will be more tired. And the concentration also. You see, whether, you see, if it is a deafening noise is there, somebody is drilling a bore, just outside your machine shop, okay, shop floor. Can you concentrate with the same concentration when there is not that noise? You cannot. You see, concentration also matters. Because of all these things, fatigue comes. So because of that, you have to provide fatigue allowance. See, the common figure of 4% of the basic time is considered as fatigue allowance. So how much ever the basic time we have arrived at, for that 4% we will allow. Okay, however, it may vary from light to heavy work. It is natural, very obvious. If a person, is not lifting heavy loads, light loads he is tackling, so he won't be so tired. You see, for 8 hours he can work very nicely without getting tired. See, whereas the other person who is lifting heavy loads every time, he will be tired. So you have to provide him the fatigue allowance. These are the relaxation allowances. See, now the second allowance that we need to provide will be contingency allowance. It is this contingency allowance is defined as a delay allowance. Why it is delay is taking place? See, that we'll see later. But this contingency allowance is not desired from either side. You see, the management also don't want such kind of delay to take place, and the worker also will not want, because management will not want, because you see, the production number, then the volume of production will go down if delays are taking place, and worker will not want it, because you see, he will be if he is able to produce more things, he will be able to get incentive for producing more. But now, because of the delay which is not in his hand, which he cannot do anything about it, you see, if delay is taking place, he will also not want. You see, neither the management nor the worker desire this. Okay, but it is, it will be required. Why it will be required? Because of the unforeseen the unforeseen reasons. Okay, if the contingency allowance, see, if for any particular work, if contingency allowance is exceeding 5%, that means that method should be improved. You have to carry out the method study, and you should be able to find out a better method of doing the work. Okay, the contingency allowance here again, it is defined as a small allowance of time included into the work content of the task to compensate the worker for the time lost due to legitimate interruptions. The legitimate means these are all legal interruptions. It is not that worker by himself lethargically, or by his laziness, or by his unwillingness to work, he is wasting time. These are legitimate interruptions and delays which are uneconomical to measure because of their infrequent and irregular occurrences. It is not that every day the same amount of delays will take place, or at the same time it happens. Okay, some of the contingency allowances are some examples are given here. See, suppose when he is working, the tool has broken. See, or waiting for the part to come. A part has not come because the from the other machine to him it should come, or through the conveyor it should come, but that is not arrived because of some other problem at the other station. But this person is waiting for that part, or the tool has broken and he has to replace the tool. He has to get the tool from the supervisor and from his custody, and he has to fix it. Okay, so some time is lost in that such type of allowance is contingency allowance. So power failure of small durations, if it is a scheduled maintenance, that's why in industries we have one weekly, one day maintenance day, in which electricity maintenances will be done and the power supply will be interrupted. On that day they will give holiday, okay, off day. But apart from that also, sometimes power failures may take place for a short duration, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You see, you have to account for those things also. You see, those are the contingency allowances. That is another example of contingency allowance. Then daily maintenance by maintenance department. Some people have come to do a little maintenance, daily maintenance. At that time you may have to wait for 1 minute or 2 minutes as a worker. Okay, such also is an example of contingency allowance. Then interruptions from foreman or the supervisor, whoever is this, or time study analyst, etc. Any other person is coming and talking to him, interrupting him, then then he may he will lose some time. See, that is contingency. That is another example of contingency allowance. Then obtaining special inspection devices. You see, you have to obtain special inspection devices to check the quality or the dimension of the thing. Then or some flaws in the object, if you want to check. It's either you may have to get from your supervisor, or you may have to go to the quality department and get those things. It may take time. Okay, so such kind of these are some of the examples of contingency allowance, and there can be more such things. Okay, this is the contingency allowance. Next, let us see about the policy allowance. Say policy allowance, this is an increment other than the bonus increment applied to standard time to provide a satisfactory level of earnings. This policy allowance is a management decision. See, this policy allowance is some bonus increment also they are talking about here. You see, suppose if you have to give incentive to workers for enhanced production, increase in production. Suppose he is required to produce 10 components and he is producing 12 components. 2 he has produced, because of which we give some kind of bonus or increment or something like that, incentive. Okay, apart from that, some other policy allowance, if the management is willing, this policy allowance is a management decision. You see, if as a policy, if they are willing to give some kind of allowance, some more, okay, this cannot be demanded by a worker, so it is not part of the time study. See, it is not because of time study because of which they are giving, but the management maybe under some special circumstances they thought that it is necessary to give as a policy. They have provided a little more time. Okay, see, that is policy allowance. This may not be existing for each and every component. Then special allowance. Special allowances, these may be given for any activities which are normally not part of the operation cycle, but are essential to the satisfactory performance of the work. See, in the time study these things are not appearing. You see, in the time study, what is included is only the first one. What is that? Relaxation allowance. But the other things are not included. Okay, that will be included the if the management so desires. Okay, or for contingency allowance we cannot do anything. You see, those things, whether the management wants or not wants, that should be included. But this policy allowance and the special allowances, these are the allowances, which not part of the time study, but these allowances are to be taken into account. You see, these are not only for specifying the standard time. This may be necessary for even for calculating the wages of the workers also. Okay, see, here some examples are given for special allowances. See, setup allowance to cover the time required for preparing a machine for a new setup. A new setup is to be, you see, it is not the regular work that he is doing, the worker. You see, some other till now for few days he was doing some work. Now he has to take up a new set of work. So for that, what you have to do, you have to set up the things first. Okay, you may need special fixtures and special jigs, special tools, okay, special arrangements, all those things you will have to see. Okay, so this setting up of the machine and other things, other tools, that comes under special allowance. Then a reject allowance may be allowed when the production of a proportion of defective products is inherent in the process. Suppose the raw material that you got is not of good quality, because of which some components are getting rejected. Okay, see, it is not the fault of the worker because of which the rejections are coming and because of which he is losing time, but it is because some problem which is there inherent, means it is already existing inbuilt in the process itself, because of the defective because of some problems in the process. Okay, then cleaning allowance, if you have to, even you're machining a component, chips, burrs and all those things, you may have to clean, see, time and again you may have to clean the work area. See, some oil is spilled, you may have to clean it, otherwise somebody will step onto it and he will skid and he will meet with accident. You see, such things, some cleaning allowance. This may not be there in the work study, in the time study, in the time study that you have carried out. Okay, then implementation allowance, or to adopt a new method, all those things, these are all forming under special allowances. Okay, so we have seen 4 different types of allowances. So till now what we have seen, all these 4 different types of allowances we have seen, and we have come to the end of our first chapter. We will see a few numerical examples. You can, you will get a number of examples, 1 or 2 we will try to cover now. Okay, see, we have seen the allowances, contingency. Okay, now let us see a problem here, numerical problem. See, an industrial operation consists of 5 elements. 5 elements means these are work elements like A, B, C, D, E. The following observed times, these are the observed times, and the performance ratings are given. Okay, performance ratings are for the worker. Observed time is the time required to execute this work element. Okay, assuming rest and personal allowance as 15%, this is resting allowance. or relaxation allowance, you say. Rest and personal allowance, relaxation allowance is 15%, and contingency allowance of 20% of the basic time. Calculate the standard time per piece. See, now contingency allowance also they are giving in this company, so you have to add this also. Okay, you see, relaxation time normally they said 5%, but here this company is allowing 15%. Okay, it is nothing for us. We only have to calculate what is the standard time per piece. Okay, per piece means, for producing one piece, the 5 different elements are there, 5 different uh, processes are there, these are small work elements are there. When you do all the 5 things, one piece will be produced. Okay, so now let the solution. See, the normal time computations from the observed time are shown in the figure. See that again you will have to only that you add one more column here, and there you write basic time. Now basic time, we have the formula: observed time into rating is the basic time. Okay, if you are giving rating, normally you give as a percentage, therefore you have to divide by 100. Okay, see, now the first element observed time is 0.2 minutes. Okay, this 0.2 minutes and the rating is 85. 85 means this worker is faster or slower. 100 means the standard rating, but this man is having 85 rating. That means he is a little slower. Okay, whatever, see, we need not worry whether it is above 100 or below 100. See, just put in this formula and you will get the answer. See, that means what, because he is slow, he took more time, but actually when you put this 85 here at the rating and the standard is 100, so you will arrive at 0.17 minute. So that means if he worked with the standard speed, he should have finished in 0.17 minutes itself, but now because he is slow, he took 0.2 minutes, a little more than the standard value has taken. Okay, so like that, for the second thing, which is taking 0.8 minutes, third is taking 0.5 minutes, fourth is taking 0.12 minute, and fifth is taking 0.1 minute. See, all these things depending upon the rating. Okay, you have to calculate the things, and once you have calculated all these things, now what you have to do is you have to calculate the total basic time, the basic time in minutes. Finally you are arriving at 0.866 minutes, that is less than 1 minute. Okay, see, now the normal time or the basic time per piece is this much. Okay, 0.866. Now this is the basic time. These are the observed times. These are the basic times. This is the total of the basic time. Okay, now what you have to do, you have to give the allowances. Now relaxation allowance is 15% and contingency allowance is 2%. So now calculate the 2% of 15% of what? 2% of what? Of the basic time. So now the basic time should be multiplied by 15%, basic time should be multiplied by 2%, and you will get two values here. One is relaxation allowance, the other is contingency allowance, and now you have to add all these things. That means you have to add the basic time, the relaxation allowance, and the contingency allowance to arrive at the standard time per piece. Okay, you see, though we are giving relaxation per piece, he will not be taking relaxation for every piece. Every minute he will not be able to see. He will accumulate the relaxation time for over 1 hour or half an hour or 2 hours, and he will take at a stretch, and when it is divided among the total number of pieces, it comes to some 15%. So that's why they have provided 15% of relaxation. Okay, relaxation allowance. Okay, now let us see another problem here. um, the problem states like this: if a worker takes 15 minutes as a standard time for a job in which total allowance is 20% of the normal time and the rating of the worker is 100%, find the actual time required by the worker. You see, now it is the reverse they are asking. Earlier, they they have given observed time and we had to calculate the standard time. Now they are giving standard time, and from the standard time they are asking us to find out the actual time, means the observed time they are asking us to find out in the reverse direction. That's all. Okay, see, now you are you can easily do this. A simple mathematics it is. Say the standard time is 15 minutes, the performance rating is 100. So now the rating also is nothing. See, 100 upon 100 is 1. Okay, so that means what? This observed time and basic time will be same if it is 100% rating. Okay, now the allowance is 20% of the normal time of the basic time. You see, you don't get confused. Basic time and normal time are same thing. Some people call it normal time, some people call it basic time. Okay, now we have only three times here, three different types of times. What are they? Say observed time, and then basic time, and the standard time. Only the basic time is also called as normal time. Okay, so okay, now here, suppose normal time is denoted by nt. Okay, now we have the formula: standard time is normal time plus total allowance. Now here only one allowance is given, okay, which they are calling as total allowance. We don't know whether it is relaxation allowance and contingency allowance and some other allowance, or it is only relaxation. We don't know. Okay, but we need not know also, because that is not our that is not what is asked. What is asked is you find out the observed time, okay, or the actual time. Okay, now we have the standard time formula as standard time is equal to normal time plus total allowance. So the standard time is 15 minutes and the normal time, that is what we don't know. Okay, but the allowance is 20% of normal time. So 20% means 20 upon 100. See, like this. Now you can take nt common outside the bracket, so you will get 1 plus 0.2. that means now nt can be calculated as 15 upon 1.2. that means 15 minutes. This is the normal time. Again, here they have written basic time. Okay, now basic time is 12.5 minutes. Now basic time, again, basic time and observed time formula is this: basic time is observed time into rating upon 100. Okay, now anyway, because this rating is 100 and the denominator also there is 100, see, the observed time and basic time are going to be same, so this observed time also came to 12.5 minutes. So now this is the actual time required by the worker to complete the job. Okay friends, that's all. Okay students, we have finished the first unit with this. Okay, and we will stop here, and in the next lecture we will start the second unit or second chapter. Thank you.